Have you ever wondered why certain patterns keep repeating in your life, no matter how hard you try to change? Maybe your past is hijacking your present and haunting it. Today, we'll explore how to take back control. Welcome to Mind Matters. I'm your host, Dr. Nina Savell Rocklin, here to help you turn your subconscious into your superpower. People often ask me, why focus on the past? It's over and done with. It's in the past. But that is actually not true. The past is alive in our present. It is influencing our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors in ways we might not even realize. Our early experiences, especially in childhood, they shape who we are today, how we think, how we feel, how we perceive the world. And understanding how the past echoes into our present, that is the key to transforming your present and your future. Because by understanding how we're haunted by those ghosts of the past, we can take steps to create lasting change. So let's take a closer look at this. Let me start with Zach. Now, he came to me struggling with what he called a quote unquote food problem. And he ate for comfort all the time, especially after a bad breakup. And every time a relationship ended, he gained 20 pounds. And he was the one who ended all of his relationships, and always for the same reason. He sensed that, as he put it, things just weren't going anywhere. And these relationships also, they always lasted about a year and a half. And after every breakup, he'd start binging on pasta and pizza, and as he put it, everything Italian. Italian was his thing. And eventually he would go on a strict diet, he'd reach his goal weight, he'd find a new girlfriend, and the cycle would repeat. To understand what was going on, we had to look at, you guessed it, Zach's past. He was the oldest of 4 kids. He was the only boy. His mother was, wait for it, Italian, and she came to this country for grad school. And his dad was a popular college football player type dude. And Zach was very funny. He said this is how he put it. He said, well, my father was a jock, one of those popular guys, totally confident. He probably figured I'd be like him, a frat guy. And then he said, turns out I'm more of a fat guy. So instead of sports, Zach preferred playing video games. He liked reading. He felt awkward around his dad. He never knew what to talk about. He was closer to his mom, who was nice. She was affectionate. She made really good lasagna. And Zach thought it was just a total coincidence that all of his relationships ended about a year and a half. And this included jobs too. He would leave jobs after a year and a half. He would leave girlfriends after a year and a half. And when we were working together, he never missed a session. He was always open to exploring his issues. And then, oh yes, we began to approach the year and a half mark in therapy. For the first time, Zach started canceling, and he said things just weren't going anywhere. He was thinking about ending treatment. So I pointed out the similarity between what was happening with us and with girlfriends and jobs and everything. And I noticed, hey, you say the same thing about jobs, relationships, things just aren't going anywhere. So I asked Zach what happened when he was about a year and a half old, and he realized he'd been 17 months old when his sister was born. And Zach, he had been the first grandchild. He was the prince of the family. Everyone was all about Zach. But when his sister was born prematurely, she needed extra care, stayed longer in the hospital. And when she finally came home, of course, Zach's mother was taking care of her and had to give her even extra attention than even a normal, newborn baby. So it is very likely that Zach felt such a sense of rejection at that time that he did not consciously remember, but it deeply impacted him. And as an adult, he reversed the experience. He became the rejecting one instead of the one being rejected. And the binging on pizza and pasta and everything Italian, as he put it, that was an unconscious attempt to attain that lost, available perfect mother of his childhood that was all about him. So Zach and I worked through the past, the original wound, and I helped him develop new ways to respond to his emotions and his conflicts other than turning to food. And he eventually met a wonderful woman, and when they had been dating 17 months, he proposed. Don't you love it? He proposed, and they have now been married for over 10 years, and they have kids, and it's just such a happy ending. I love what I do. Oh my gosh. So Zach's story, it is a powerful example of how by bringing those hidden conflicts from the past into the light in the present, we can create lasting change. If Zach's story intrigues you, try this exercise. List your 5 closest relationships. And for each one of them, take note of any similarities to maybe influential figures from your past, like parents, siblings. Do the people that you're with, is there something about that dynamic that is familiar? Kind of like a relationship inventory that can help you identify patterns you might be repeating unbeknownst to yourself. But it's not just in relationships where the past affects us. How we learn to manage emotions as children can also influence how we cope in adulthood, especially in our relationship with ourselves. So here's an example. This happened when my daughter was young. She was at a park playing with friends, and there were these 2 little toddlers just close to me, a little boy and a little girl. They were digging with sand and digging and eating some sand and laughing and having a great time. Just as only toddlers can do. And suddenly, the little boy stood up, clutching the shovel, and then he ran off with the little girl's shovel. So what did she do? She burst into tears. Of course she did. And then it happened. Her mother comes running up, looking anxious. Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. It's okay, it's okay. And of course, the little girl is sobbing. After all, little dude just took off and left her without warning. I'm sure many of us can relate to that experience of being dumped without warning and having someone just leave. So, of course, she's crying. And to make matters worse, of course, he still had her shovel. So her tears were a natural response to her hurt feelings, but her mother was freaking out. Stop crying. It's okay. And then mom's like digging through her diaper bag, and she's like, don't cry, don't cry. Here. She whips out a cookie. Have a cookie. I really, 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 really wanted to say something to that mother like, are you freaking kidding me? What the actual? Don't do that. You are teaching your kid to be scared of her feelings and use cookies for comfort. Because what was that toddler learning in that moment? That her feelings can make other people anxious, that she should not cry or get upset. But if she absolutely can't stop herself from crying, a cookie will help. And it is very likely that that little girl will grow up to be a woman who reaches for cookies when she feels anxious, or when she has a bad breakup and she's going to tell herself not to cry, don't cry, don't cry, and then she's going to have cookies. Because her experience as a toddler is going to get enacted throughout her life. Unless she comes to me and I'll help her. But that's another story. She won't know why she turns to food as an adult. She won't realize that she was taught to do so, that she never learned any other way of coping. If her mother had said, sweetie, honey, I know it hurts. It's painful when people leave you and take your things. And especially when you don't know why they're doing it. I get it. That's hurtful. Of course you're sad. Then that little girl would have had a good cry. There's a reason we call it a good cry. It's supposed to make us feel better, because that's how you feel better. That's how you get rid of your feelings, by actually feeling them. So think about how your own parents responded to your feelings when you were a child. Can you remember any particular scenarios when they might have been dismissive or angry or even like nicely dismissive? How did that make you feel? And what do I mean by nicely dismissive? Like, oh, that's not so bad. It's okay. Look on the bright side. Be grateful. That kind of stuff. It's actually very dismissive. And then consider how this may have affected you in the present day. The key is to learn to be supportive of yourself in a new way. And this is something Stan had to do. Stan came to me, he was in his 60s, and he was really struggling. And as a child, Stan would play outside, get banged up, and when he showed his mother like some nasty scrape, she'd say, "Oh, you're fine. Stop complaining. Go back outside. Go play. You're good. It's all fine. Nothing's broken." She wasn't mean, but she always minimized his pain, whether it was physical or emotional. And as an adult, it's no surprise that when Stan's feelings were hurt, he would tell himself, you're fine, stop complaining, everything's good, nothing's fatal here, He never complained. He turned to food instead. And by the time Stan came to see me, he weighed nearly 400 pounds, was in constant physical pain, dangerously high blood pressure, and he had internalized his mother's response to pain and was using food to stuff down his emotions too. And when I pointed this out, hey, look, you open your mouth and your mother comes out. He said he didn't want to blame his mother for his weight. He said it's not her fault that he ate. It's not like he said literally, it's not like she's holding a gun to my head. I mean, she was no longer with us at that time. But I explained to Stan that there is a difference between blaming and explaining. Blaming means pointing a finger and being a victim. It's my mom's fault. It's my dad's fault. Wah. That's blaming. Explaining is about understanding what happened, recognizing how you were affected, and actively creating change. So it's about understanding what happened in the service of change. And when Sam recognized that his current responses echoed his childhood experiences, he started responding to his emotions in a much healthier way. And then there's Natasha, whose mother was critical. It's all about mothers today. It's not always about your mother. Even though the oldest psychoanalytic joke in the world is, and you got to think about it, a Yiddish accent, which I can't do despite the fact that my grandmother spoke in a Yiddish accent, something along the lines of, if it's not one thing, it's your mother. Okay. That's the oldest psychoanalytic joke in the world. There's a reason I am not a stand-up comedian. I did it terribly. You get the idea. But it's not always your mother. Sometimes it's your father, it's your grandfather, it's your grandmother, it's your teacher, it's your siblings, whatever. But Natasha had a critical mother who was also very emotionally unavailable. And whenever Natasha made a mistake, her mother would say, "How could you do such an idiotic thing?" And as an adult, this will come as no surprise, Natasha was attracted to aloof, withholding men who treated her with the same detachment and criticism that she experienced in childhood with her mother. And if a man showed a genuine interest in her, she became the rejecting one. So Natasha was also critical of herself. Nothing she ever did was good enough. Whenever she made a mistake, she'd tell herself, "How could you be such an idiot? How could you do such an idiotic thing?" Right? By dealing with and healing that original relationship with her mom, she was able to break the cycle. She became kinder to herself and started dating men who also treated her nicely. So if you struggle with self-criticism like Natasha, try this technique. When you have a negative thought about yourself, consider this. Do you talk to yourself in the second person voice as Natasha did when she said to herself, "Why are you being such an idiot?" Using the pronoun you when talking to ourselves, it often indicates that we've internalized someone else's voice. So in Natasha's case, she spoke to herself the same way her mother did. So if you've ever said anything to yourself like, "You're not good enough, you're going to fail, they don't like you," that's your inner critic talking. And whether it is the voice of someone you knew, someone who spoke to you that way, or if it came into your mind in another way, it only makes you feel bad about yourself. And instead, got to be kind to yourself and ask yourself, what's going on with me? What do I need right now? What am I feeling? And tell yourself, I'm capable. I've got this. I'm perfectly imperfect. I like me. Changing the way we talk to ourselves is extremely powerful. And this can really help you challenge and reframe negative self-talk. So as you can see from these examples, if painful or upsetting relationships from the past are not healed, they just play out again in the present. But when we truly process what happened before, those ghosts, they stop haunting us, and the past becomes a memory rather than an event we keep repeating and repeating. So to motivate yourself towards creating change, try this. Spend 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. You got that. Visualize your ideal self 5 years from now, free from the patterns that are affecting your life now. What does this future look like? What positive changes have you made? This future self-visualization, it can really motivate you to break free from the past. Because by healing the past, we change the present and we create a future that is aligned with our truest selves. Our relationship with ourselves, it is the basis for all relationships. And that is why I am so excited to share next week's episode. We're going to talk about what I call deja vu dating, the hidden reasons we choose our partners. I'm going to look at why we keep finding ourselves in the same kinds of relationships, even when they don't serve us. And I will help you uncover hidden patterns and give you practical tools to create change. Because it's not just about understanding. You want to know, okay, now what? What do I do with that? Change is what it's all about. So thank you so much for joining me, and be sure to follow me on all social media channels. Until next time, remember, your mind matters.